Alright, what's up, Curiosity Crew? So today we are up in the Rampart Range area, same area that we started with in the Shift into Low series from last year, but today we are interviewing Rick with his Brewbicon. He's a brewer, he's got a brewery called Riccoli, very close to my place, up like 44th and Wadsworth, Wheat Ridge area, so checking out his Jeep, hearing about all of his Jeep enthusiast things, and actually sampling some beer as well. We got the Chevy Silverado, of course, and then Brendan's Kia EV9. So kind of a fun mix of cars. Somehow, the Dunkin' Donuts have not flown off the dash. I think we just successfully made it to our location. Just a parking lot area up here on Rampart Range. Completely silent. Absolutely love it.
My name's Rick Abbottball. Some people call me Riccoli because I own a brewery called Brewery Riccoli. We brought the Brewbicon. It's a 2017 Jeep Rubicon, two-door. And it's been modified a little bit. Everything, my whole policy has always been, if anything breaks, always repair it with an upgraded part instead of just stock stuff. So we have put in like a rough country lift kit that I put in myself, done extensive suspension work and replaced everything, modified the spacer, the bushings with polyurethane. We've got differential covers front and rear, the Poison Spider bombshell ones, right? So it's the same material as the housing. I've got DV8 ball joints in there, actual chrome moly ball joints as opposed to the stock steel on plastic ones. I've got 1.5-inch spacers on the wheels. I put inner fender liners, high clearance fenders on there. There's underlighting, LED lights underneath. Of course, we got the awesome Sunrider top that really is so much better than the Freedom panels. They call them Freedom panels, but you end up taking them off, then you got to put them somewhere. And then if it starts raining, you got to stop and get out and take them out from where you put them and put them. This is nice. It's just flap, latch. I bought it new in 2017 from the Med Beds, and I got a great deal on it. And it's got about 85,000 miles on it right now. So I've got it sitting up on 37s. And we got rock rails and things and extra shielding underneath and stuff.
And it's a manual?
And it's a 5-speed manual, 6-speed manual.
Nice.
Yep. Yep.
Sweet.
I mean, any real Jeep is going to be a manual. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I'd say the easiest, the least favorite thing is just that I could use more space, but I really like the fact that it's short wheelbase. I mean, it's got an amazingly tight turning ratio. Radius and it can just kind of billy goat over everything. I see a lot of the 4-door Jeeps and the 4Runners and stuff. They kind of have to straddle stuff a bit more, and this just kind of just bips up and over it. Once I ended up getting that extra lift from the 37-inch tires, it's stuff I used to look at and think, oh, I'm gonna hit. Now it's like, oh, we just go over that. Oh yeah, we just walked right over that. Yeah. Yeah, when on this Rubicon, when you're in 4 low, first gear is like painfully slow, but it's got so much torque. A lot of times I find myself, if I'm on a pretty straight thing, I'll be in like 3rd or 4th low, just so that I can maintain some motion on the trail. But plenty of torque and muscle for getting through stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, if you have an estimate, how many trails do you think you've taken this on?
Over 100.
Nice.
Over 100, yeah. Yeah, we've there's quite a list, and there's so many great trails that are just west of Denver, like out of Lawson. There's Chins Lake and Billmore Lake and the Red Elephant Hill and the Empire Loop and stuff like that. And then on the south side, there's Cascade Creek and La Martine Road and stuff. There's just so many great little, pretty intense. I mean, like 15 minutes out of Denver, and you're like crawling over big rocks. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
what would you say is like the sketchiest position you've been in with this vehicle on a trail?
Actually, falling off the road in between Eldora and Caribou. Yeah, we accidentally got a little close to the edge, and the wheels popped off. And thank God we have a winch, and because my winch was no help. So, we slipped off the road, and we're resting on the axles on the passenger side. And luckily, we had the winch in a tree in the right spot, and was able to winch back on and get going again. We got high centered on red cone one time that we had to get helped off of the rock. But other than that, we've most sketchy things, especially like on that Empire Loop, there's so many areas where you think, oh my God, I'm going to hit. How am I going to get over there? And this thing just walks right over it. Yeah. So like we were behind a Land Rover Defender that was just having all kinds of trouble, 3-wheel action and everything, and we're just walking up behind it like we're watching that on TV. I never was really much into the duck thing, but one time I showed up in the parking lot of the King Supers after coming out of the store, and there's a duck sitting on my thing. And it just kind of makes you feel good. It's like, okay, somebody saw this vehicle and appreciated it and thought, oh, this is a sign of that. Yep. One time we were even at traffic at 58 and Highway 93, yep. And a Jeep was parked, and they got out of the car and handed me a Jeep duck through the window. And that was pretty cool. So I've only gotten a few. I see some people like rows and rows of ducks and everything. So I think some people are into it a little too much, but it's not a good thing to hate. And when it happens to you, it makes you feel good. Yeah. And the wave thing, I tend to wave more if I'm in the mountains on a country road. If I'm in traffic and there's a guy 3 lanes across, I'm not going to wave. I'm dealing with traffic. I got both hands on the wheel. So, yep. But in the mountains where it's, pretty casual and you see somebody coming by, especially on a dirt road right next to you, definitely wave. It's just a wave of kind of like a ducking without a duck. Yeah, just to wave and acknowledge that, okay, you're cool. Yeah, in 2012, I had become obsessed with home brewing and stuff, and became a brewer and worked for Rock Bottom for several years. And then when that all kind of came to an end, I thought I need to open my own place. This is what I do. And so of course the Brewbicon is just an extension of that. I thought it's only logical for the Jeep to be called that, as so we ended up getting some custom stickers made and everything. But yeah, we opened up a brewery in 2012. And our concept was pretty simple. It's just brew great examples of classic styles of beer. And then we put a little enzyme in it that doesn't change the beer or change the flavor or anything, but it actually breaks down the gluten and renders our beer pretty much gluten-free. We have to call it gluten removed because the people that brew with birdseed get upset because in order to call it gluten-free, you have to start with no gluten. But we're making real beer, barley, water, hops, and yeast, and removing the gluten after the fact. And I did a lot of extensive testing when I was at Rock Bottom with that to see if my regular drinkers, I'd dose a beer sometimes I wouldn't. So just waiting for my regular drinkers to say, hey, what's different, about this beer? And I realized I'm not changing anything about the beer. I'm just actually making it easier for me to brew. It turns around faster. The yeast clears out because I'm using this simple enzyme, which had been used for chill haze problems for like 10 years before anybody realized it was doing a thing to gluten. We generally have 18. I think we have 20 beers on tap right now. Nice. But everything from super light cream ale and Pilsner to stout. We have a Guinness style stout. We have double IPAs, triple IPAs, pale ales, a red, a brown, and everything is personally tasted and approved by the brewmaster. Nice. Otherwise, it doesn't go on tap. When I was a kid, I read this book called The Jeep, about this kid that inherited like a garage find, type of Jeep from his grandpa, and it was in their barn, and he ended up taking all the time to restore it.
I never heard this story.
It was a book that I read. Yeah, and so I've always had kind of a soft spot for Jeeps, And my first car was like this VW bus. And God, I hated it, and I thought, why can't I be driving something cool like a Jeep Wrangler, But then,
It's breaking my Volkswagen loving heart.
Oh my God. That thing was...
I mean, you're not going anywhere quickly.
No, you definitely weren't. Oh my God.
They're like a Type 1 or a Vanagon.
Oh, it was the old school.
The old school.
Yeah, it was
okay.
like a 63
Yeah.
VW bus. And it had a kind of a higher top, and it was set up as a camper and stuff.
An old like Type 1 Westie. That's in
Yeah,
today.
before they
it's
even
awesome.
started
It was
doing
before
it,
it was
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, and then I ended up getting like this Mazda GLC that I beat the hell out of, and eventually so I took it down to the VW. I took that down to Arizona where I was going to the Army. I was stationed at Fort Huachuca, and that's where I traded that in as soon as I got there because it was about ready to fall apart.
Right.
And bought this Mazda GLC, but then eventually I got like a 2-wheel drive Toyota pickup, little short little pickup, and I love that car. And but it wasn't until, oh my God, I got back to Colorado where I finally found a deal on this Jeep. It had an old AMC 327 in it,
Yeah.
the Vigilante motor, and I got a good deal on that 67 Wagoneer. Took it all the way to the top of Aspen Mountain. A very long day because it kept vapor locking. So you'd drive like a quarter of a mile and then have to park for half an hour, let it cool.
Let it calm down, and
that's where I learned where you do not pour cold water on your hot radiator.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we made
What
it up
let go, the
there.
radiator or the block?
The radiator. Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the one you want of the two.
Yeah, but I was pouring it on the radiator, trying to cool it down faster. But
Aw.
you just have to stop and open up the hood, but that's really cool road. You get all the way to the top of Aspen Mountain. There's a gate, and then there's dispersed camping up there. And,
Would you say that's where your love for Jeeps like really started to flourish?
yeah, getting off road. I mean, that's kind of what I like, is just being able to get where other people can't get to. And we did that. I ended up getting a Grand Cherokee, a 1981 Grand Cherokee, and we took that to the top of Mount Antero with all the kids going, no, no! But it was pretty cool, and that's fairly tame as far as off-road goes. But then we bought a YJ, had that for a while, and we took that up over like Mosquito Pass and a bunch of places. That's where we really started liking the way off trail, is in that little car. And so then when it started falling apart, actually Johnny Medved was a customer at the brewery.
His wife had celiac disease.
Yeah, and he would come get kegs. I'd fill kegs for him, and then I was bitching about my Jeep falling apart, and he's like, well, you should come over. And turned out they were just getting ready to sell the car dealership to these Canadian people. And they said, we're douchebags, blah, blah, blah. But he's like, come over and I'll get you a deal. And he did, yeah. So got me this really nice tricked out Rubicon, and
Probably once again we never could have qualified for the credit.
Oh, so
Yeah,
you got this from Medved?
from Medved.
Okay.
From Johnny Medved.
Pre the relatively recent sale, right?
Oh, yeah, no, it was in 2018 when they sold it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we got this in early 2017. And I didn't get much for my trade-in, but boy, it was falling apart. My soft top was leaking and all this stuff. And
You know what I hear some people say about the Rubicons? Like, is this your kind of daily driver? Or
it is. It is.
the short gearing on them? I've heard people just have kind of mixed feelings about driving on kind of the street because of just how short the gearing is. And
Well, maybe those with an automatic, yeah. But I got a manual in mine, and like, because I also hear people like, oh yeah, you're gonna go to 37s, you need to get like at least 5.36, 5.38s, or 5.88s or whatever. And I'm still on the 410s, and I don't notice that I need to change. Most of the upgrades on this thing have been necessity driven. Like we were up on Red Cone and we got lodged on a rock, and that was the first thing. It kind of peeled back my diff cover on the back when we winched off.
Oof.
That was the first time we ended up using the winch, and I had never used it before, and all these ATVs came up behind us. It's like, oh, you stuck? Oh, hey, you got a winch? Oh, you got a winch. Here, give me a second there. And picking it up for me, and it's like, okay, I guess that's how you use the winch.
That is one thing that I really like about the off-roading community, is that like if somebody's stuck, like seems like a lot of people pitch in to help out.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, everybody's really kind that way.
Well, and it's non-political too. They
Yeah.
don't, you know, it's like you don't get into it out there.
Totally.
It's just not.
Well,
You're out doing your thing, right?
Yeah, where were we at? We were at the end of Middle St. Vrain, Kelly Flats
Oh, yeah.
Trail there, and there's a lake at the
Waterfall.
end. There's a big old lake where you got to go through, and one of those razors had gotten stuck in the middle of it, so we turned around and hauled out the winch and winched him in.
It's actually
Shore, you know.
pretty impressive that a razor got stuck.
I know. I was like, yeah. I was
I just wonder if
surprised.
water got too high and got.
Maybe.
They were in
in
a
the
spot where they
intake,
got
or-
lodged in a rock and they just kept sliding on the
Just
wet
couldn't get
rock, and then
traction.
they couldn't get traction to get over it. But once we gave them a little tug, then they were able to move forward. Yeah. Yeah. If you want a good beer, come visit us. We're at 44th and Wadsworth. It's 4335 Wadsworth Boulevard in Wheat Ridge, 80033. It's called Brewery Riccoli.
Well, thank you so much, Rick. I really
All
appreciate you
right.
coming out.
Thanks, Marty.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's probably going to do it for this one, but very cool to check out Rick's Jeep. We haven't really done much with Jeep in the past, so it was cool just hearing him talk about the modifications he's done, why he has a Jeep, and some of the common Jeep enthusiast habits and cultural habits, such as the ducks, as well as the certain wave that they give each other. But yes, I appreciate you guys watching. As a reminder, I upload every single Sunday. And hey, if you're interested in checking out another video, I will link to Shift into Low from last year in the description and at the end of this video. So definitely check it out. All right, see you guys.